Let's get into it. So the Packers are expected to hire college front office official Will Redmond. You're going, wait, what? College football has changed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is not your grandpappy's college football anymore. There are now general managers. They're now these guys are acting just really very, very similarly to NFL general managers. We've seen former NFL general managers like Michael Lombardi and others go to the college ranks now to be general managers of these football teams. It's really, really interesting. So we've got a guy who kind of got thrust into the NIL era. He was already having success at a place at LSU. We'll talk about his entire background here. And then he took over as the general manager of the Auburn Tigers. And of course, we're talking about Will Redmond, right? Matt Zenitz had the tweet that went out first that I saw, said the Packers are expected to hire respected college front office official Will Redmond in a personnel role. Sources tell CBS Sports. Was most recently the general manager at Auburn. Before that, he was director of player personnel at LSU. Notice that did not say general manager at LSU because, again, as NIL is kind of screamed into the picture here, that used to be the director of player personnel used to kind of be the general manager position, if you will, in college football. Okay, so they were in charge, working hand in hand with the head coach in constructing the roster, essentially, right? That guy that's kind of probably doing a lot of logistical things, scheduling, getting everybody set up to go on recruiting trips. If you are not a college football fan and you don't know what I'm talking about, dig into it a little bit. Some people just see college football, okay, they're college students and they're playing football, right? Man, the business side of college football is just the wild, wild west. It's absolutely, it's so intriguing. It's wild. It's a lot of fun to keep up with. So again, Will Redmond is coming from the Auburn Tigers to the Green Bay Packers. Now let's talk about who Will Redmond is. Obviously, like we said, a highly respected front office executive and a rising star in the world of player personnel. On February 11th, reports confirmed that Green Bay Packers are hiring Redmond into a key personnel and scouting role. So again, his background is scouting for college football. Well, he's been in that realm for quite some time now. So now he's going to bring that knowledge of identifying college talent to the Green Bay Packers. And obviously that's what Jon-Eric Sullivan did so well. That's what Brian Gutekunst did so well. That's how he became the general manager of the Green Bay Packers. So they're all kind of cut from the same cloth here, okay? He joins Green Bay from Auburn University, where he served as general manager and is expected to help fill the void left by the departure of Jon-Eric Sullivan to the Miami Dolphins. Below is the chronological breakdown of his career. So playing career, he actually played from 2009 to 2012. Redmond was a standout athlete in Tennessee before moving into the administrative side of the game. In high school, he attended Christ Presbyterian Academy in Franklin, Tennessee. If you guys aren't aware, I'm pretty sure Franklin is just outside of Nashville. So got some big – I don't know how big Christ Presbyterian Academy is, but you get some outside of Knoxville and just outside of Nashville is where you get your best high school football essentially in the state of Tennessee, right? You get, there's a number of different high schools. I don't want to try to name them all. Chattanooga's a big place as well, like Baylor down there. I think that's where Peyton Manning's son is just enrolled. I've actually got a family member, inside sources down there that told me, hey, Peyton's on campus. Something's going on down here. And I was like, all right, what's does he got a son with him? I think he does. There you go. So they've been spending some time in Denver living out there. So Peyton Manning brings his son to play high school ball at Baylor. And now he is enrolled there, if I understood correctly. So again, you've got several football factories in the state of Tennessee that's turning out prospects, obviously, to the University of Tennessee. And now Vanderbilt's screaming towards the front of the pack as well. So he played in kind of that area. I just want to kind of give that background. That's where he played his high school football at, all right? He was a 4-year letterman in both football and soccer, graduated in 2009. In college, it says that he attended the University of Tennessee from 2009 to 2012. While he was a talented prep athlete, he chose to focus on the management and scouting side of the sport during his time on Rocky Top, serving as a student intern in media relations and recruiting. Those who can't teach, right? Sounds like he wasn't good enough to play the game, wanted to stay around the game, and started to get into the business, relations, media side, all that stuff, right? A little bit of recruiting as well. So professional career, collegiate front office. So starting in 2013, right, to 2025, most recently here with Auburn. Here is his professional career in terms of collegiate front office work, all right? Redmond was spent over a decade building top-tier rosters across the SEC and other major conferences. All right. So at Tennessee from 2013 to 2014, he served as a recruiting analyst for the Volunteers, overseeing prospect evaluations in the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast regions. So he's familiar with the southeastern part of the United States is kind of where that hotbed of talent typically is, right? You think of like your Georgias, you think of your Floridas, right? You get in the Atlanta metro area, there's a lot of great prospects that come out of there. You get in really anywhere in the state of Florida, although you get down around Miami, there's a lot of prospects. I mean, it's all over the place, to be honest with you. Florida is a hotbed of talent for sure. So that's where he spent the majority of his time. It says Mid-Atlantic and Southeast regions. Now, he went on to Western Michigan in 2015, briefly served as the director of player personnel for the Broncos. Then he goes to Middle Tennessee State, all right, from 2016 to 2018, and he served as the director of player personnel overseeing day-to-day recruiting operations. So it sounds like a little bit more involved there, right? Day-to-day recruiting operations at Middle Tennessee State. Then he goes to Kansas from 2019 to 2020. He served as the director of recruiting for the Jayhawks. So he's been all over the joint, man. Started in Tennessee, Western Michigan, Middle Tennessee State, Kansas, and then, of course, he goes on to LSU, and that's where he really took a huge step forward, right? So from 2021 to 2022, he served as the director of player personnel, all right? So again, he was kind of helping build the roster down there at LSU. He was instrumental in Brian Kelly's transition, helping rebuild a depleted roster and landing top 10 classes in both high school and the transfer portal, including Heisman winner Jayden Daniels. He was named the 2022 FootballScoop Player Personnel Director of the Year. Now, I want to hit pause there for a minute. People hear Auburn and they think, man, Auburn was bad, right? He was most recently the general manager of Auburn. Let's just go on and talk about it, then we'll come back to LSU. So from 2023 to 2025, he served as the general manager for Auburn football. Notice how it goes from personnel director to general manager. Whole different ballgame. So again, what did he do well? He was best as a personnel director, right? Helping do recruiting, helping build the roster. General manager, not so much. So again, maybe he's not cut from that cloth to be a good general manager. Some would say that Gutey isn't cut from that cloth. He's a scout at heart, right? As opposed to someone who's very, very, very in tune with, free agency, things like that. Not that Gutey won't sign a free agent. That's not a knock on him. It is what it is, right? That's his strength, is recruiting. This guy, similar background. He served as the general manager for Auburn football. He led the Tigers recruiting and evaluation team, helping the program navigate the new revenue sharing and NIL era. Now, listen, not going to sugarcoat it. I think it was it Hugh Freeze? I don't know if he's still there or not. Whoever was at Auburn. That program is in bad shape, real bad shape. But again, just because he was the general manager at Auburn doesn't mean that he's not a good talent evaluator. Doesn't mean he wouldn't be a good piece to the puzzle for the Green Bay Packers, going back to what he does well, which is scouting, right? Not so much, all right, we got to try to get this player. All right, let's get his agent, this high school kid's agent on the phone, and see how much money he wants. All right, we'll give him $300,000 and we'll make sure that this car dealership, who's got 2 locations in 2 different counties here close to the school, he's got to sign an NIL deal with them to help promote their car dealership, and they'll pay him the money because we're not legally allowed to pay him that money. You understand what I'm saying? The rules are so blurry in college football. There really are no rules, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got kids that are enrolling into class. They're accepting a scholarship, their NIL package. This just recently got told by Clemson's coach, Dabo Swinney. They had a kid that they signed, right? They got him an NIL deal. They got him enrolled. They've already met with him. He already got his play. He already got everything to do with playing football, all the stuff he needed there. He is already starting to take classes, and another school reached out to him and said, hey, we'll give you more money if you come here. He'd already bought a car. They said everything. Like, he's just already spending money. And then the kid goes, well, they're giving me more money here. And the agent bucked on Clemson. And that agent said, you know what? Or Clemson said, you know what? You're going to have to choose. And the agent said, all right, we're going over here. I think he went to Ole Miss, I believe it was. I can't remember exactly. But long story short, it's a different ballgame. There's strict rules in the NFL that you got to follow to build rosters. And obviously what's going to happen here with this new addition is you're going to have Will Redmond step back in and get back into scouting. And I think that's a good place for him, right? So, again, now let's back up to LSU. When he was over scouting, along with Brian Kelly, of course, and other coaches before that, right, that roster got kind of depleted. So he was involved in bringing Jayden Daniels there, if I understood correctly. I want to say it was in the transfer portal. So the transfer portal was starting to heat up, although NIL wasn't full blown yet. They hadn't actually put in place. Can't hold these kids back now. They should be able to go where they need to go. So the fact that he was instrumental in building that and rebuilding that depleted roster, he landed a top 10 class or helped land a top 10 class, both in the high school and the transfer portal, right? Very, very involved. And again, I don't know about FootballScoop. I don't know how prestigious that award is, but in 2022, he wins the FootballScoop Player Personnel Director of the Year. Pretty impressive. So I think this is a good addition to the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, it goes on to say Green Bay Packers officially hired him February 2026 into a personnel role. Redmond first worked with the Packers as a scout during the 2026 Senior Bowl week before being brought on full-time by Brian Gutekunst to bolster the front office. So sound like he was there, right, as a scout, Senior Bowl, and now the Packers are hiring him. So I think it's a good addition. I'm curious to know what you guys think in the chat.